32, and I have been effectively single during the holidays for the last 10, maybe more, years of my life. I say effectively single because I do not count the years where I was in a long-term situationship or casually dating somebody who wasn't really ready to commit to me, nor do I count the unhealthy relationship that I was in where he refused to acknowledge the holidays or celebrating with me. For a long time, it did hit a lot harder. Being single during the holidays just felt lonelier than other times of year until I finally decided to proactively change my relationship to being single. Let myself feel my feelings if I was feeling sad or lonely or grieving. And then I focused on changing my self talk, changing my relationship to what I thought it meant to be single, and actively inviting in more joy, more love, more magic, and more connection in my day to day life, especially around the holiday season. It's okay to still desire partnership, but what's even better is to actively enjoy the life experience you're having now rather than waiting until your relationship status changes.
In short, 10 more years of solitude lie ahead. Every time I watch a video on this topic, I always come across the phrase, working on myself, but I fail to understand what they are working on. It seems they mainly focus on improving their economic life and isolating themselves further in solitude. So, where is the effort? Many of these women are not nobodies. They are average women who could date an average man. However, none of them likes the average guy because the key wouldn't be working on oneself. The key would be lowering your standards. But many don't want to hear about that. Telling a modern woman to lower her standards is like saying she has a terminal illness. Because there are plenty of men, single men are abundant at the moment. But when a man invites them for coffee to get to know each other, many take it as an offense because of their ridiculous standards. They claim they can't go on coffee dates when all they do is stay at home every day, locked up with a cat.
I'm a survivor of narcissistic abuse. And if you've been on social media at all this week, you've seen the screenshots of the article in the Psychology magazine saying that men are lonely in record numbers, single men. I can't speak for all women, but I can speak for myself and what I believe to be happening. We are done with men who treat us like shit. We are done with men who lie to us. We are done with men who manipulate us, who gaslight us, whose words don't match their actions. We are done with men who think that we should be their mothers, like that video going around of where are all the women who want to make lunches and rub our backs. We're not your parents. We are done with men saying that they don't want to take care of us, that they want a strong woman. So we go out and have this great career and become successful, and then you're threatened by our success. We are done with men who are not emotionally available, who take every single comment that we make as argumentative. We are done with men saying that we are too emotional, labeling us as crazy. We are done with men that we can't actually express our feelings to because you flip the script and say that everything was our fault, that we are the problems. We are done with men who continue to spread lies about us to make themselves look better. We are done with men who create this toxic environment in the home, and then we're the problem when we leave. We are done with men treating us like second-class citizens. We are not the trash that you take out at the end of the week. We are done with you telling us how much you love us and that we are your ride or die, as much as I hate that statement. And then a week later, you're off with someone else. We are done with the men who are cheating on us and think it's perfectly acceptable. We are done with men ghosting us. We are done with the silent treatment. It's abuse. We are done with the fact that you can't just simply say, you're not the right fit for me. And after a first or second date, you just never respond again. We are done with your childish behavior. We are done with you having to be the center of attention all the time. We are done with being lonely in the relationship. We have all been in relationships, long-term relationships, where we as women feel so lonely because no matter what we do, it's never enough. We are done with you saying you're not the person that you were anymore. No, the abuse has changed us. We are done constantly being made to feel like we are compared to every other woman on the planet, whether we're as pretty as they are, whether we're as in great a shape as they are. We're just done. We are done being made to feel less by you. We are waiting and wondering, when is it your turn to level up? We've done the work. We've been in therapy. We are trying to figure out how to be better women. And you're just out there wondering why we won't accept you as you are. When's it your turn to level up? When are you going to become emotionally available men so that we want to be with you? And I'm so sorry if you feel lonely. Maybe you should wonder how we've felt all along.
The irony here is that men, too, have ended relationships with the modern woman, with the woman sporting unrealistic standards, the one seeking an ATM, the one with father issues and numerous traumas, the one who harbors hatred towards men simply for being men, with the women belonging to the green and pink-haired group, spreading nothing but hate towards men, with the fortune hunter, the one who only wants expensive dates to take photos where everything but you is featured, with the woman who seeks more of a sponsor than a partner, the one searching for a sugar daddy, with the narcissistic woman, the one who believes that her financial success gives her the right to humiliate men, with the woman who comes home wanting to be nothing more than a bossy and abusive authority figure, with the woman seeking the perfect man while complaining about everything he does, with the woman who wants to live dating the Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table but his seed, increasing her body count, and then wanting a serious relationship, with the woman who has Chad's children and then expects the beta provider to support them, all while preaching that a father is the one who raises, not the one who begets, with the woman who can't stay faithful, with the woman possessing masculine energy and not a hint of femininity. We end up with all these women because we've chosen to let them hit the wall, as the wall does not forgive. But look at the difference with a woman who did marry a good man. She doesn't blame the man for her poor choices.
After living 67 years, what general life advice you would give people?
I would say pick your partner very carefully. Looking at their families makes a big difference. I know when I was at your stage and looking for a partner, I didn't really think that their mom and dad mattered that much or wasn't a big factor. But I think as you do grow older, you realize you get to be a lot like your parents yourself, and your partner does too. So we have a pretty good look at who their parents are. I think it's a good thing to do.
What difference, brother, is there in a woman who knows how to choose her partner, a woman who is married, a woman who considered things beyond money, a woman who looked at how her father was, whether she came from a broken home, not a woman who lives blaming men for her poor choices in life, not a woman who dates the current Chads and then blames men, saying there are no good men left in the world, without acknowledging that she likes bad boys who want to save or improve men, men who had red flags from the start. Later, she wants to come for the healthy man, making them pay for all the pain and suffering left by the Chad. This woman looked at how that man was with her father, something I recommend every man always does. Pay attention to how a woman gets along with her father because, believe me, that's how she'll relate to men. So where is the whole story of women working on themselves? Because in the end, all the blame falls on the man. Just look at the following video, a woman blaming men for her poor choices, commenting on this video.
7 years, what general life advice you would give people?
I would say pick your partner very carefully.
Instead of picking a partner, most women marry the enemy. Someone who's controlling, someone who wants to have power over you so they can feel better about themselves. Most women marry a bully. Then they wonder why can't they make progress in their business, in their career? Why they feel so small? Why they can't put themselves out there? Why can't they do public speaking? Because you feel small. Because you live with a bully, someone who constantly takes you down. Our environment matters. The people that you surround yourself with can make or break you. Women make bad choices because of 2 reasons. 1, upbringing. Your parents were your first bullies and therefore you pick another bully, continuing the familiar cycle. 2nd, the path of least resistance. When you made a decision to commit, you needed someone. You fell for their words and ignored their actions. The person that you pick to be your partner is a testament to how confident you really are, how much you value yourself. Everybody's confident until they have to do something for yourself. Advocating for yourself, promoting yourself, results don't lie. When you opt into the wrong relationships, you stay stuck.
They see the discourse of these women, blaming even their parents because they failed, choosing their partners themselves. Remember that the woman has the power of partner choice and deciding who enters her bed, while the man holds the power of commitment. But what does the woman use that privilege for? To go with the current Chad, turning herself into just another one of many, and then blaming the man because she didn't know how to close her legs. This is like the man who has no results in life. You look at his habits, see that he doesn't read, doesn't exercise, doesn't study, can't even maintain a decent haircut. Yet he envies the results of a man who does work on himself, blaming everything from the government to anything but himself because every system is flawed, except he is miserable. Brother, I have never believed in victimhood, which is why this woman doesn't look in the mirror and ask herself why she didn't pay attention to the family background of this man, why she didn't check if he works, who he associates with, why she followed her drunk friend and ended up sleeping with Chad at a party. Why do they keep listening to toxic women who can't find a partner? They don't analyze anything. That's why they hit the wall. That's why I doubt what they'll achieve in therapy because they don't learn anything. They keep crashing into the same wall.
This. I remember seeing a TikTok where this well-known flight attendant, she's well-known on TikTok, she made some sort of comment about how the right thing for single people to do if they're asked to give up their seat is to give up their seat. No. No. I think the only time I ever would be if it was like a super, super, super young child. And only then if I was able to still have an aisle seat, because that's pretty much always what I pick. If I was being asked to switch with an elderly person, I'd probably just say yes, even if it relegated me to a middle seat. But I just don't agree with people who think that no matter what, single people should have to change their seats. They shouldn't, and it's not okay to pressure them.
Brothers, we are at a critical moment in history where laws have to be constantly changed because people now want to break free from the mold. Instead of laws being applied for the benefit of everyone, they are now tailored to benefit a few who cannot adapt to the system. This trend will continue throughout all times. It is predicted that by 2030, over 45% of women will be single. This tells us that many new laws will have to be implemented because there are laws even for paying fewer taxes as a couple. However, with marriage on the decline, more and more laws will be modified for a life of solitude. Dark times are coming, brothers, in these recent years.
What we're witnessing right now with the women and just this like mass rejection of men is actually a survival technique.
A survival technique. Okay, let's hear more.
Our inherent instincts and adaptation and evolution over time.
I'm always very curious to see if someone actually can demonstrate that they know how evolution really works.
We have been able to observe that the men's behavior has become a threat to us.
Okay.
Trauma, including generational trauma, is stored within the body.
Interesting. But continue.
One could argue that men have always been a threat and a danger to women. It's true.
I'm sure that this is going somewhere. I hope.
I don't know that we've encountered a period in time yet where our bodies are telling us not to procreate with them.
If that in fact were true, there would be no current pregnancies, nor any children being born, but by all means, carry on.
We as a whole gender are recognizing that that specific group in our species is disease.
One individual should really not speak for an entire gender.
Something is wrong with them. They pose a threat to us and our offspring, and as such, we have no desire to mate.
That's not how evolution works exactly. Although, on the upside, those that have those mindsets that seem to think that an entire gender behaves in a certain way and therefore don't want to procreate, well, at least their genes won't be passed on.
Oh, hell no!
I don't know what kind of biology this woman studied, but one thing I do agree with is that she won't be reproducing anymore. Believe me, we don't need more women with colored hair and a pig ring in their nose. If not reproducing with men achieves that, well, they'd actually be doing us a big favor. But I want you to see the following story about what a man had to go through just for wanting a date with this modern woman. It's straight out of a movie.
Yeah. So I hope this was really worth it to you. You really wasted my time and my energy today.
I hope you have a better day.
Oh, well, I was having a great day until you showed up and decided to waste my time.
Do you mind if I close my door?
I don't mind, ugly fuck.
So, yeah, I'm done dating. So last week, I saw this girl on Mutual, that's the Mormon dating app, and I'm on there because, like, you know, I'd like to be with somebody with similar values and, you know, used to be maybe in the church, and so they know where I'm coming from, and I'm very upfront about, like, that I'm not active and all that. So anyways, I see this girl, very gorgeous. She's got, like, her business information and her phone number's on her profile. And she does, like, teeth whitening and esthetician stuff. So I texted her, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you knew, but your phone number's in one of your photos on your dating profile. And then, what did I say? I said, maybe it's intentional. I'm very interested in you, so I was thinking if you're game, I could pay you to whiten my teeth, and then if you were attracted to me and we hit it off, I could ask you out on a date. So I sent that on Wednesday. Thursday night, she texts me and she says, I'm getting evicted and I have $2,000 of rent to pay. And she put the dollar sign after. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting scammed. That's a fake profile, that's a red flag. So I like looked her up a little bit and then I was like, oh no, it's like it's a legit business. This is her number. And so I just sent her a really nice text, like, I know things are tough for a lot of people right now. I hope things look up for you. Like, if you end up getting evicted, let me know. I'll help you move your stuff out. Didn't hear back from her. And then today, like, right as I was getting off drill, she's like, I charge $199 for teeth whitening. Would you like to do it today? And I was like, oh, I'm about to get off work. That worked for me. So, I texted her. I was just like, oh, I'll be in uniform. Is there a place where I could change clothes? Because I don't really want to do it in my uniform, blah, blah. And then, so she sends me the address. And then she's like, it's downtown, so there's only street parking available. And I was like, okay. So at 4:41, I said, sounds good. We just got released, so I can be there in like 25 or 30 minutes. And so she sends me like some directions of how to get there. So at 5:10, what did I tell you? I said 25 to 30 minutes at 4:41. So 5:10, so 31 minutes. I was 1 minute late.
We need to look deeper into the background of the story to judge what happened. But based on how it started, we can determine that this girl has the personality of a Karen. Women who feel entitled. Just messaging a stranger about being evicted and lacking money is a red flag. But let's continue.
I was like just trying to find a spot. And I called her because like there's only a couple spots out in front of her, whatever she rents there. And so I was like around the corner. I called her. I was like, hey, to see if one would open up. So, and then I texted her. I was like, hey, will you just see if one of those spots has opened up? And she texted me back. She said, yeah, I have something else to do after this. There's plenty of street parking. I don't know what kind of games you're playing. So now I'm like, oh, I must be in the wrong spot from what she's talking about. So I parked my car where I'm not supposed to be parked in front of her thing. It says permit only. And I walk in. I'm like, hey, I must be confused because I don't see any spots open on the street to park in. And she's like, I told you to park over at the Megaplex with like all this attitude. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to pass. And so I turn around and I start walking out the door. And this must not have been her first rodeo because immediately she starts filming. And she chases me out the door. I'm not kidding. She chases me out the door. She runs over to my car, she's like taking pictures of my plate. She's like, I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to tell them that because I told you there's $100 cancellation fee. I'm like in shock because I'm like, what is going on right now? So I'm like, okay, yeah, you can call the cops. Here's my ID. Like, cause she's like taking pictures of my license plate. I'm like, here, I'll make it easier for you. Here's my ID. You can take a picture of that and you can tell the cops this is who I am and they can look me up. And like, she's just like, I told you there's $100 cancellation fee. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't really want to get my teeth whitened in the first place. I was trying to get my foot in the door for a nice date with a beautiful woman. And so she's like standing in the way of my door, so I can't shut it without touching her. And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna fall for that. So I'm like, hey, can I close my door? And anyways, so I'm closing my door, and she's like, you ugly fuck. She's like, okay, I'm getting out of here. So then she starts texting me, and she's like,
Yes, this woman is a Karen who's completely crazy, which goes to show that a pretty face can hide a very dark heart. This man wanted to have a chance with her. He seems like a decent guy. But this woman is only driven by her greed for money, typical these days. This man has divine patience because any other man would have confronted her. It's clear he's in the military. He knows how to control his temper, as he said, I won't fall into her trap. You saw in the video how she was saying all sorts of things to him while he got into his car. But let's take a look at the remaining messages for more context.
just let it go. So she sends me $100 request on Cash App. She says, I'll be letting them know probably letting me know. I'll be letting you know you're basically blacklisted to all women in Utah now. I texted back. I think I'll be okay with a smiley face. And then she texts me and she says, I should be charging you the full price, the full $199 for wasting my time, but you can go on ahead and pay the $100 cancellation fee so that this doesn't have to get escalated any further, and we can just go about our day and leave each other alone. And I don't respond. Then she sends me a link to a TikTok video that she's like prepped, and she's like, you can pay the cancellation fee, or this TikTok video can go viral after I share it to multiple Facebook groups and my Instagram with 140,000 followers. And like at this point, I'm driving, so I'm just not even engaging. And this whole time she's calling me. I'm like, I'm not answering the phone. She's psycho. I don't know what kind of mental health medication she's on, but it ain't working for her. She needs to find something else. And then she says, I don't understand why you offered to pay for teeth whitening just to waste my time. I know I should have charged you the full appointment up front like I do with all my other clients before allowing you to come waste all my time and energy. If you're a man at all, you would pay the cancellation fee for wasting my time. I did absolutely nothing wrong, and I did nothing for you to treat me that way, and I don't deserve my time and energy to be wasted that you did that. And then she texts me a couple minutes later and she says, sounds like you have a business to frostbite food, so I'm gonna make sure that business does not go well for you. What she doesn't understand is that I have nothing to lose and I probably need that $100 worse than she does right now. So,
And all publicity is good publicity.
yeah. Frostbite foods. So, and she's like, I'm gonna blacklist you on all the dating groups. I'm like, girl, I'm done dating. So go right out. I'm out. I'm gonna be a passport girl. I'm gonna go find me a nice young Brazilian lady to marry, or you guys can arrange me a marriage. But I am so done. Like, oh my goodness. So. Yeah, that's how my afternoon went. But I'm gonna be all over the internet in my uniform. I'm sure they're gonna love that. And I should have just hurried and changed before I left. But I was like, oh, I don't think I'm shooting my uniform. Well, stupid. So yeah. Anyways, I think I met somebody possessed today. Like I told her, oh, here's another text from me. Oh, promote your small business, Utah. She's posted me on a Facebook page. His name is DJ Searcy. He apparently owns a business as well called Frostfight. Frostfight. He knew I was struggling financially. Booked me at my place of business on a Sunday just to waste my time. Oh, girl, that's not quite what happened, but... Anyways, I need to just block her number. So, how did your guys go?
It's funny because it's true.
And this, brothers, is a woman who I can assure you didn't have a father figure in her life. She doesn't have a male partner either. In short, she's lacking men in her life. Women who don't have relationships with men are always the first to claim they're in danger simply because men exist in the world. You never see women with fathers, brothers, or good men in their lives getting involved in this kind of nonsense because they understand the significance of the men in their lives and value them. But those who lack that masculine energy will never get it. This type of woman only changes if she's lucky enough to have a son. That's when, with some luck, her perspective on men might shift. But from what little I can see, I'd guess she's single, and it's even more likely she'll hit her 30s and face the wall before getting married. And as we all know, the wall spares no one.
But this is the problem. It's not the actions of the few. You need to reverse that statement.
Well, this sounds promising.
It is the actions of most men.
Really? So most men do the same things, do they? Somehow I find that extremely hard to believe.
Most men. There are very few that do not act this way.
Which way? Pointing out illogical? Should I go so far as to say even irrational behavior of blaming the many on the actions of the few? I should hope that any individual, whether it's a man or a woman, would point out how illogical that kind of behavior is.
You have the privilege of being a man in this world.
Yes, the distinct privilege of being a man in this world and getting blamed for absolutely everything that has ever gone wrong. What a privilege that is.
We have the lived experience every single day since we are young women dealing with men like this. You will never in your lifetime feel safe as a woman as long as there are men in the world like this.
This is one of those situations in which I will say again that an individual should only speak for themselves, not for all women, because not all of us feel unsafe just because there are men in the world.
This woman is desperate for money and is going about it in the worst way possible. She's the typical entitled woman who feels she can do whatever she wants with a man. I want you to notice that many men go through similar situations. That's why, when you see a woman bad-mouthing a man, insulting him over a date, or, if they were married, calling him an abuser, there's always more to the story than what they claim. If this man hadn't made a video telling the truth, reading her messages, and recording everything that happened, today he'd be labeled the bad guy, a so-called abuser who steals money from a vulnerable woman. And you all know the feminist groups that would go after him on every social media platform, attacking him and especially his business, without even knowing the real story. Congratulations to that woman. She's managed to drive a hardworking, decent man away from the dating market. Now, another family-oriented Mormon woman with strong values will miss out on him. Just like this man, there are many others who are tired of these modern women who are out of their minds, living their entire lives on TikTok. Brothers, what's your take on this story?
So I just got a major update on some drama that I thought you guys might be interested in, and I would like to share. So I live in a very small town, and word gets around, okay? So there's a husband and a wife, okay? They get married, have a bunch of babies, buy a house, living the dream, right? They are loving life. Well, the husband catches the wife having an affair, okay? And he's like, not cool, right? He's pissed. Anybody would be. And he says, like, you better cut him off, knock it off right now, or we're getting a divorce. And she goes, okay, I promise. I will cut him off. We're done. We're not the same anymore. He goes, okay, cool. Well, a couple of months later, she's like, hey, I want to go out and drink with my friends, we're going out, we're going to have a girls' night at this bar. And he's like, a little unsure, because of everything that just happened. He's like, I don't know if I necessarily trust you, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, go have fun with your friends, right? So he falls asleep on the couch. Around 1 a.m, he gets a phone call. So he wakes up, answers it, and it's his wife. She's freaking out. She's crying, bawling her eyes out, like, you need to come pick me up right now. I need you to get here, like, immediately. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? She's like, just get here, just get here. So he goes to the bar, picks her up, and, her face is, makeup's running, eyes blotchy, crying, like, really freaking out. And he's like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't understand, like, why you're freaking out as much as you are. And she's like, I just had a fight with my friends. Like, I really need to get home. Like, things are just not good. I'm not having a good night. Just please bring me home. He's like, wow, okay, let's go home. So they go home. A couple hours later, like 3 a.m, he hears this boom, 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 boom. And he's like, what the heck? On his door, they're home. He's like, what the heck? So he goes downstairs and opens the door, and there's another lady standing in the doorway, and he's like, who are you? And she's like, yeah, hi. I'm the wife of the husband that your wife was having an affair with. He's like,
Oh, hell no!
Once unfaithful, always unfaithful. Brothers, as men, the only thing we ever ask from a woman is loyalty and exclusivity. That's why we marry her, even knowing we're entering a deal with the devil where we could lose everything, just to secure exclusivity with that woman. The worst thing about forgiving a woman is when there's no system of consequences. If there are no repercussions, the person doesn't learn their lesson. They just get a scolding and go right back to their old ways once things cool down. Another red flag is those so-called girls' night outs, which often turn out to be an excuse to meet another man. Look at how she came crying to manipulate her husband, claiming she had a problem. Just like she did with him, many women do the same to their husbands. You see your wife suffering, and you ask yourself, where is all this pain coming from? Brother, she's not hurting because of you. She's hurting because of someone else. But let's continue. This is where the video gets good.
what? And she goes, yeah. Did you know I caught them this afternoon? I caught her in my bed with my husband, and I chased her out of my apartment. His apartment is right down the street from the bar. So the cogs in his brain are spinning. He's like, oh my gosh, that's where she was. And that's why she was crying and freaking out. She got caught and got chased out of the apartment, calls me, and that's why she's freaking out. He's like, well, what? Like, oh my God, right? And she goes, I'm just here to tell you about her pregnancy, because I just found out about this whole situation, found out that my husband's cheating. I just found out that she's pregnant, and I just found out that you don't know about it. Damn! So I wanted to let you know. He goes, thank you very much. Shuts the door, right? Confronts his wife. She's like, nope, 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 nope. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Like, I'm not pregnant. I promise. Like, I swear to God. Well, come to find out, she was pregnant, and it wasn't her husband. So they get a divorce, right? So she gets together with the guy she's having an affair with. You know, all couples are divorced and separated at this point. So she had a baby a couple months ago, and it's been on Facebook, you know, congratulations, it's a little weird, like, you know, happy they're having a baby's a blessing, whatever. Can't change having a baby, right? Like, he's here. The husband, the guy that she's having an affair with, says, look, I don't think this is my baby. He doesn't look like me. I just have this feeling this isn't my baby. So we get a DNA test. And this is all new information. This is the information I'm finding out today. All that other stuff I just told you, old information, happened like last year, right? Come to find out, it's not his baby. It's not her ex-husband's baby either. There's a third party out there that has fathered this child, and we don't know about it yet. So, when I get an update, I will be vigilantly checking Facebook. I will let you all know, and we can figure this out together.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Brother, we can't make this stuff up. Once unfaithful, always unfaithful. This situation makes a few things clear. First, she cheated on her husband with more than one man, and she's one of those women who don't even take precautions. The second point is why every man insists that DNA testing should be mandatory. Women like this are sleeping around recklessly, not protecting themselves, and they don't even know who the father of their children is. Her ex-husband should also get DNA tests for the kids they have, because there might be another surprise waiting for him. That's why, when I hear a woman getting offended because a man asks for a DNA test, claiming it's a lack of trust, I have to point out that many men who've been duped into raising children that aren't theirs thought they were happily married. So don't come at me with that story. The truth is, responsibility is kryptonite for some women. We have to face the times we live in. Women today are worse than men in many ways. Now we see that the new man she cheated on her husband with was just another name on her list. Honestly, if I were him, I'd also get myself tested to make sure she didn't pass me some disease. Brothers, this man did everything right. A family man, and look how he was betrayed. Never forgive an unfaithful woman unless you're prepared to put her under strict consequences, because if not, this is how you'll end up.
I absolutely went into marriage knowing I was going to become a divorcee. There was no question in my mind. I knew at some point we would get divorced. The only question mark was when. I thought, when I'm 40, maybe I'd get that title. Maybe then I'd earn it, 10 years down the track. Because I think 10 years in a marriage, that's a pretty good innings in this day and age. That's like a good run. Turns out it's just a 3. In the end, that's all we kind of reached our limit with. But, still got the title in the end. And obviously, I don't want to get married ever again. However, double divorcee is a term that I'm living for. Like, that is cunt.
So let me get this straight. You really went into a marriage knowing damn well you didn't want to marry this man. You didn't think it was going to be long term, and you still sat up at the altar and said, I do. And you don't think that that's disgusting behavior to lie to somebody, to manipulate somebody, to look them in the eyes and say forever and not mean it? And the amount of women in her comment section that are basically saying that they're in the same situation and they're waiting until the 10-year mark to get whatever they can out of their husbands, which means they're lying to their husbands every single day for however many years. And then you expected to play this long game, expecting it to last 10 years, even though it only lasted 3. Which means you'd be lying to him for the next 10 years, and you don't see that as a problem. In fact, you think it's funny, like it's a flex that you're going to be a double divorcee. And just imagine for a moment a man came on this app and spewed all this nonsense about using his wife just for the title. Let's be so for real. We all know how this goes. These women get on the dating scene and they get treated the exact same way that they treated the men in their relationships or in their marriages, and they can't handle it. And then they get online and cry, where did all the good men go, even though they're basically breaking down and destroying all of the good men in the process. So they just perpetuate this same fucking toxic cycle and then blame all men. Like, since when is it cute to basically become an escort if you're marrying a man for money? Some of y'all need to stop using men and marriages as an ego boost and just fucking get yourself into therapy, but don't cry about all the men that don't want you, want nothing to do with you. And when you find a good man and he doesn't want you because you've been ran through, I don't want to hear any shit about all men are trash if you're perpetuating the cycle to creating all the men that are essentially trash by treating them like shit in the first place. Okay, bye.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Do you think she's the only one who does this? Many women see marriage as nothing more than financial security. That's why I always say that, on the wedding day, only the man gets married for love. The woman does it for a lifestyle. Only a man in love is foolish enough to enter a contract where he risks losing 50% of his assets, but he still does it. In the past, marriage had meaning. Nowadays, women get married for the title of wife, the big wedding, and the ring. Now, this same woman can proudly say, "I'm a divorcee." This is the reality young men face today. The insecurity of giving everything to someone who is only in it for their own benefit. That's why marriage is in freefall these days. Because it's not worth being with someone who, from the beginning, is already planning how it will end. We have an update on this story. The unfaithful woman who ended up pregnant. Let's see how it all turned out.
I don't have any big additional breaking news information, but I figured since this video is getting so big, I will give you a bit of a backstory of what happened in between them getting divorced and then her finding out that, or him finding out that the child's not biologically his. Okay, we're gonna have to come up with names for these people because I was just trying to explain it and I was getting myself confused. So we're gonna call the original couple John and Jane. Okay, so Jane is the one that cheated on her husband John, and John is the one that went to pick her up at the bar. Okay, and then over here, this other couple we're gonna call Don and Danetta. Okay, and Don is the husband that cheated on Danetta with Jane. Does that make sense? So we just found out that Don is not the biological father of Jane's baby, and neither is her husband, ex-husband, John. So there's a random mystery baby daddy out there. And now, understandably, right after this happened, John had kind of a bit of a mental breakdown. John and Jane have 2 kids together, a boy and a girl, and now Jane has her son, who's, I think, 3 or 4 months old. Anyways, so John had kind of like a mental breakdown. Like, truly, it was really sad to see kind of the stuff that he was posting on Facebook. You could just kind of see it, that he just was not doing okay. He wasn't in his, he wasn't in a good frame of mind. And he also ended up drinking a lot, which is really unfortunate. And he got a couple DUIs and got his license taken away and lost custody of the kids. So she has custody of their 2 kids right now. And I'm not really sure what's going on with him after that, but that's the last I've heard about John. So now Don and Danetta don't have any kids together. So when they got divorced, it wasn't really that big of a deal. Danetta kind of went her own way and Don and Jane kind of did their own thing. Danetta is actually doing very well for herself. She found herself a new man and she is killing it, slaying it, being a big badass boss queen. But she did like the post, which I thought was a little strange because I feel like if I were to find my boyfriend cheating and find out that he got another girl pregnant, we wouldn't be friends on Facebook, right? I don't know. I thought it was just a little weird that she liked the post. So maybe she knew, maybe this isn't the, like, this isn't the debut of this information. This is the debut for everyone else. But maybe other people have known for a while. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure it will come out because Jane keeps no secret.
The only one who came out winning here was Danetta, who did what John should have done from the start: leave the unfaithful partner. Look at how she moved on with her life. John, on the other hand, destroyed his own life. It's painful to see how a man who does everything right ends up ruined because of a woman. This man gave her a second chance after the immense pain caused by her first betrayal. She didn't care. She did it again. I want you to notice here how women are emotional beings. They make decisions based on how they feel, even if it's selfish, always prioritizing themselves. When she cheated on John the first time, she knew the damage it would cause to her family, the pain it would bring her husband and children. Yet she did it again. Now, she's even pregnant. Did she care about destroying her children's future? No. Did she care about mentally breaking her husband? Even less. Now the children see their father drowning his sorrows in alcohol while she's busy trying to figure out who the father of her child is. Listen carefully. Never forgive an unfaithful partner. Be like Danetta. Move on. it will always be better than staying.
Ain't it funny when you stop talking to a man because he is simply doing everything other than treating you right? Not taking you serious, playing with your time, not even taking you out on a date. Soon as you dub him, and it's been a couple weeks of you not contacting him, there he comes, strolling right back in, trying to act like he changed. All of a sudden, now he's trying to take you out. Now he's trying to show you that you mean something to him. And the only reason why he's doing that is because you're paying him no mind anymore. And he realized he officially lost you. So do not fall for it. He knows what he's doing, so I hope you know what he's doing. Because soon as you allow him back, he's going to treat you the exact same way he did when you first was talking to him. That man should have treated you right the first time around. So since he messed up his chance, there is no need to continue talking to him. Appreciate me the first time around, because there won't be a second. Just don't be delusional thinking that he changed.
And where is your effort? Every time I hear this, I ask myself how hard it is to be a man. As a man, you're expected to bring tangible things to the table. You have to be a provider, successful, capable of taking care of a family, have your life in order, and then also be loving, a good listener, thoughtful, and always making an effort to keep your partner feeling in love. It's a full-time job. If you neglect any of these areas, she'll leave. But the real question here is, what do you bring to the relationship? He doesn't appreciate my value, they say, but he gave you everything you asked for. Why don't you do the same? Why aren't you the one planning the dates, organizing the trips, or making the effort to prepare something for the relationship? Why can't you take the initiative in making plans for the two of you? Instead, it's always the man's responsibility, and your only contribution is your presence. On top of that, all the expenses fall on him. It's for reasons like this that men are withdrawing from the dating market. You demand so much and give so little. Even planning a dinner, one you won't even pay for, is too much effort for some. That's why we're seeing more and more women hitting the wall, because the wall doesn't forgive.
So I got on a date last night, and he tells me about his roommate. Guess who he lives with?
His wife, ex-wife.
Nope, better.
Ex-wife, baby mama.
Better.
Grandma.
Better.
Mother.
Better.
Mother-in-law.
Better.
Daughter.
Better.
I said daughter too. Oh, Jesus. Who the fuck does he live with?
His husband. Wait, it's not over. There's...
Kelly!
You ready for the next part? No, that's the best part. No, they are not together. He's straight. They did it for the benefits from the military. So...
For who? For him or him?
Both. So his husband, who's in the military, gets extra BAH.
Right. If you're married, okay.
So he doesn't have to pay for housing. And he gets...
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't know if this woman is aware of what she did, but to me, I'm not sure if she realizes it. She just confessed to a crime. I'm pretty sure that's illegal and considered fraud, especially when those men aren't gay. Maybe a lawyer or law enforcement officer will clarify in the comments, but you can see here that trusting information to a woman these days is risking it being known by everyone because she couldn't keep the secret and even set it on video. God willing, these men don't end up in trouble.
I catfished this guy thinking he was catfishing me. I'm currently at the airport. We agreed to meet here because he is from America. But he is here. I can see him. You can't see him in this, but I can see him. And he doesn't know what I look like, obviously. I catfished him. He thinks I'm Sophie Rain. I sent him Sophie Rain photos telling him that was me. So he is probably over there somewhere looking for Sophie Rain. And he's not going to find her because if you didn't know, I'm not Sophie Rain. I feel really bad and I don't know what to do. He's flown from America to the UK.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Only a man would do something this stupid. Honestly, With all the ways to connect these days, you couldn't do a video call first? You're talking to a woman you don't know and risking traveling to her country without even seeing her once. Even worse, this woman takes another woman's picture to deceive men. Can you imagine how many men she's scammed out of money or made fun of like this? This has gone so viral that even Sophie Rain herself responded. Let's take a look.
She thinks I'm Sophie Rain. Hey, so that's insane. I'm sorry to the person who is waiting at the airport, thinking that they're about to meet me, who thinks that they've been texting me. You're texting this girl who's pretending to be me, and I'm really sorry. That's really lame and gross.
Sophie Rain, you've kind of got the wrong end of this. So, yeah, fair enough, I did borrow your face and tell a guy that maybe I looked like you, but it was all my personality. That was real. I just used your face and body. But like, also, I do think you're being a bit of a spoiled sport about this. I knew I should have used Aisha's photos. She would have been so much cooler about it. Like, if you don't mind, just send me like a photo of you looking really sick in bed so I can like maybe send it him and tell him that was the reason I couldn't meet him. If you don't mind, of course.
Honestly, these days, there are no normal women. These young women are honestly scary. They're out of their minds. The worst part is that she later meets up with the guy, who finds out about the deception. She clearly allowed herself to be seen because she discovered he was a rich man with a yacht. Let's take a look.
Major catfish update, major catfish update. I met him. So we all know that I catfished a guy, telling him I looked like Sophie Rain. He flew all the way from America to the UK to meet me, Sophie Rain. I met him today. You know, he told me there was a few things he hadn't told me yet and he wanted to tell me in person. He forgot to mention the fact that he is rich. I'm on his yacht. Let me see if I can take you upstairs and show you. Guys. Sorry, Sophie Rain. You missed out.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God!
As the saying goes, money makes the monkey dance. Modern women will do anything for money. If you recall the intro video, she had a boyfriend and mentioned he wouldn't let her meet guys with yachts. What happened to the boyfriend? She took him out of the picture to go after the guy with the yacht. The same guy she initially mocked by catfishing him. Money, brothers, can change any woman's attitude. Because, as I said, money makes the monkey dance.
Successful cardiologist on a dating app, but women who went out with him say he was a monster who spiked their drinks and then brutally sexually assaulted them.
So I just saw this story of this cardiologist who sexually assaulted a bunch of women from Hinge, Tinder. The guy sounds like a complete monster. And first of all, before I say what I'm about to say, to preface, these women did nothing wrong. You should not have to worry about someone drugging you and sexually assaulting you who you met on a dating app. But anytime I see stories like this, as someone who uses dating apps, I try to think about how I can keep myself safe because unfortunately, people like this do exist in the world. And I was reading an article about this case, and in an interview with one of his victims, she said something that really caught my eye. She said after meeting Matthews at a bar for a drink, she agreed to walk with him to his townhome to let his dog out. And then she also said, I didn't want to be rude and didn't want to offend him, so I took the drink. I think all women have been in this situation where a guy after a date is like, oh, you should come see my backyard, or like, oh, I have this really fancy bottle of wine at my house, you should try. Or like, oh, I'm gonna let my dog out, you should come. And you don't say no, even though your intuition is telling you to say no. And again, she didn't do anything wrong. This is beyond not her fault. But I do think it's a good lesson for all of us. Never go to a man's house on a first date. And if you don't want to do something, for example, he offers you a drink and you don't want it, he asks you to go to his house to let his dog out and you don't want to, don't worry about being rude. Do not worry about offending someone. You owe this person nothing. You don't know them. And unfortunately, when you go to someone's house after a first date, you lose the power and the control in the situation because you're no longer on neutral territory and they're essentially in control of the situation. And because I talk about dating and using dating apps so often, I would be remiss if I did not include the fact that things like this do happen, especially because this guy was a cardiologist in Denver. He had a great career. He seemed successful. There's nothing that would lead these women to believe that this man was a predator, but yet he was. So always at all costs, avoid being alone with a man who you've met on a dating app for honestly at least the first 4, 5, 6 dates. But I always think it's important to evaluate how to stay safe on dating apps.
Brothers, responsibility is kryptonite for women. I won't deny that this man is a predator. What he did to these women is very wrong, and justice should take care of him. However, I don't agree when she says it's not her fault. It is partially her fault because she chose to go with him on the first date, with someone she didn't know. This man was a doctor, a highly prestigious career, which means high social value. Remember, women are hypergamous by nature, which makes these types of men seem like a good match to them. This is what made her more willing to go to his house to see what could happen. As we see in the news, it was at his house where he committed the crime. But they were the ones who chose to go, so you can't completely remove their responsibility in this. If he had been a bad match, an average guy, she would have made him pay for several dinners before even considering being alone with him. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. What do you think about the woman who did the catfishing? What's your opinion on what the doctor did? If you enjoyed the video, we've got 2 more interesting divorce stories you might like. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications as we upload videos daily just for you. See you in the next video on the wall.